Since we've already done addition, subtraction, and multiplication, we are on to division today. And we're going to be using a method called synthetic division. Please make sure that you have the audio on so that you can hear the secret word for today. It's really important that you understand how to do the problems and you're not just copying down the procedures. So make sure you're listening to the descriptions as well. All right, so synthetic means fake. It's going to be like a shortcut way of doing division. So either you're going to be given a problem that looks like this, like a fraction, or you'll have the actual division symbol. In any case, this is called your divisor. The term that comes after the division sign is your divisor. So this would be your divisor. And the original term, that's your dividend. And this is your dividend. The answer to your problem is going to be your quotient. All right, so when you're setting up synthetic division, you're going to come up with what makes your divisor equal to 0. Okay, so for example, we're going to set up this first problem. Look at our divisor. It says x plus 2. Okay, so x plus 2, what would make x plus 2 equal to 0? Well, the only thing that would make it equal to 0 is if x were negative 2. So I put negative 2 outside of my L shape. Okay, so you put that number on the outside. What would make this equal to 0? Well, x minus 5. So what minus 5 would give me 0? Well, that would be positive 5. So that's the number that goes on the outside. Okay, so the number that makes the divisor equal to 0 goes on the outside. And then you're going to have two rows of numbers here. So this is all of the coefficients of my dividend. Or in other words, what you're dividing. Okay, so if you look at your dividing here, your dividend, it's 4x squared plus 7x plus 6. Well, my coefficients are all of my non-variables. So 4, 7, and 6. Okay, if I set up this one, I have 3, negative 5, and negative 50. All right, we're going to actually do something here to come up with my other set of numbers. But then whatever you get down on the bottom, this is my quotient or my answer. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. But let's actually do the first problem. All right, so the operations that you're actually going to follow are just basic multiplying and adding. So we start off with our 4 that we had written over here. So we just bring that down. We don't do anything with it, and we just drop it down. And then you're going to do 4 times negative 2. Okay, so use your calculator if you need to, but 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then you're going to add your columns. So 7 plus negative 8, that gives me negative 1. And then I go back and repeat. So negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. And then I add. That's 6 plus 2. That gives me 8. All right, so remember, this row is my quotient. And this number 8 is actually a special number in my quotient. That is called my remainder. So the number that you get right in this corner here, that's your remainder. Now, the thing about your quotient is that because this is synthetic division, you don't have any variables. So 4, negative 1, and 8, that doesn't really tell me anything. Remember, this is our fake way of dividing, so you have to go back and put your variables back in. Okay, so this is where you're looking at what was the degree of the original problem. The degree of the original problem was x squared, so this is the second degree. So I'm going to take away 1 degree because I divided by a linear term. So I'm going to now, instead of having 4x squared, I'm going to take off 1 degree. This is going to be 4x. And then I'm going to go from here and go 1 degree less. So this was x to the first. This is going to be no x's. So it's 4x minus 1. And then this remainder is 8 over my original divisor, which is x plus 2. Okay, so I know this sounds a little bit crazy, and there's a whole bunch of different numbers, but I promise once you do a bunch of these, you're going to say, oh, well, these are actually pretty easy problems. All right, so the thing, going back to this, the thing about your quotient is that this is 1 degree less than the original problem or the original dividend. Okay? So if my original dividend was x squared, then I know my answer is going to start with just regular x. Okay, so let's do my synthetic division. All right, so the first thing you do is bring down that first number. You don't do anything with it. But now you're always going to multiply. So 5 times 3 is 15. Now I'm going to add. When I add, I get 10. So now I multiply. 10 times 5 is 50. And then I add and I get 0. Well, there's my remainder. So when my remainder is 0, that means that I'm not going to have this last term over here. Okay, so I'm just going to have nothing. Look at this as 3x squared, so this should be just 3x. And then take off a degree, so that's just plus 10. So my final answer here is 3x plus 10. All right, so I'm going to do each problem now just one at a time instead of setting up and going back and forth. All right, so problem number 3. It's x cubed, right? So I'm going to write down all my coefficients, right? This is 1x cubed, negative 4x squared, 3x, and negative 5. On the outside, this is what makes x minus 4 equal to 0. Well, a fast way to think of it is this says negative 4, do the opposite. That's plus 4, because 4 minus 4 will give me 0. Okay, so now I'm going to do my synthetic division. I bring down the 1. 1 times 4 is 4. I add, and I get 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 3 plus 0 is 3. And 4 times 3 is 12. All right, so now I'm going to add, and I get 7. This number is my remainder. So now, my original problem, this was a cubic, right? This should now be a quadratic. So if this was x cubed, this is now 1x squared plus 0x plus 3, and then my remainder goes over my divisor, not just 4, but x minus 4. All right, now you obviously don't need the 0x, so it's x squared plus 3 plus 7 over x minus 4. All right, problem number 4. This is x to the 4th, so this is a quartic. Now you got to be careful a little bit on this problem. So I have 3x to the 4th, I have negative 1 x cubed, but how many x squareds do I have? So if you look at the problem, you notice that you don't have any x squareds. Okay, so you need to actually say that. If you don't have any x squareds, you need to put in a 0 there. So now I have 0x squared, I have 5x's, and I have negative 1. Okay, what's the opposite of this number? That's negative 2. Okay, so now you're doing your synthetic division. Bring down the 3, multiply, I get negative 6. Then I add, negative 7. Multiply, I get 14. Then I add, I get 14. Multiply, I get negative 28. And I add, I get negative 23. Multiply one more time, you get 46. And when I add, I get 45. Okay, so 45 is my remainder. And then, remember this was a quartic, so x to the 4th. This must be x cubed. And then just keep going 1 degree less. So what's less than x cubed is negative 7x squared. And then what's less than x squared is plus 14x. Then take off another x, you get negative 23. Remember, this last number is always going over your original divisor. All right, 2 more problems. So make sure you're looking at this degree. That degree is to the 4th power, so it's quartic. But that means I need to have how many x to the 4th? Do I have any x cubes here? So no, I need to have a 0 there. Then how many x squareds? I have negative 2. Then I have plus 5 for x's and negative 7. All right, what's the opposite of plus 3 is negative 3. All right, so now let's do our synthetic division. Bring down the 3, and you multiply. You get negative 9. And you add, you get negative 9. You multiply, you get 27. You add, you get 25. You multiply, you get negative 75. You add, you get negative 70. You multiply, you get 210. And when I add, I get 203. That last number is my remainder. Okay, this was x to the 4th, so this must be 3x cubed. And then keep going 1 degree less. So negative 9. X squared, 25 x to the 1st, and negative 70 with no x's. All right, so then I've got 203 as my remainder over x plus 3. All right, your secret word for today is purple. So we're going to do the last problem. Notice that you have x to the 4th. So I need 1x to the 4th. There are no x cubes here, so I need a column for that. Do I have any x squared? Nope, so I need another column for that. I do have negative 5x's, and I have a 10. So now the opposite of my x plus 3 is negative 3. Okay, so I know I'm doing some of the adding and multiplying quickly, but you can use your calculator if you don't trust me. So we bring down the 1, you multiply, you get negative 3. You add, you get negative 3. Multiply, you get 9. You add, you get 9. Here you're going to multiply, you get negative 27. Then you add, you get negative 32. When you multiply, you get 96. And when you add, you get 106. Okay, so remember this was x to the 4th, so this is 1x cubed minus 3x squared plus 9x minus 32, and my remainder is 106 over x plus 3. All right, so make sure you have all the work done, you have the notes taken at the very beginning, and you wrote down your secret word, which was purple. All right, have a good day.